What is going on, guys? This is Nick here at Y480, and we are doing another one of our Hut Games, a little kind of like NHL news videos. Also, forget this was another old clip. Not sure which division I was in at this point, but yeah, it's a game. Some division. It was a good game. Thought it was pretty fun. Anyway, today I want to talk about two things in particular. First thing, let's just get right into it. So I was on Twitter the other day, and I follow pretty much all the major and even a lot of the minor NHL YouTubers, just to kind of see what everybody's up to, see what everybody's talking about, also get some ideas and things like that for the channel. And I stumbled across this tweet from the Nasher61, which is one of the original guys I ever watched on YouTube as far as NHL YouTubers way back in the day. He kind of went away for a while, and then he came back, and he's doing stuff again, which is really rad. But he posted this the other day. I love the NHL community, but I really wish we would stop accepting mediocre content as the standard. So I kind of saw that. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, considering there's probably more NHL YouTubers than ever before at this point. I mean, I'm one of them. I'm newer in the last 2 or so years that I've kind of crept up on YouTube slowly but surely. And I'm like, well, at this point, I feel like maybe people just aren't looking around. But then I kind of got thinking about it. I'm like, well, I guess pretty much all of YouTube could kind of take from that. And, we'll get to my opinion later. But the most interesting thing was not even an hour or so after this, Bacon Country, massive NHL YouTuber, you guys absolutely know who he is, retweeted it and said, considering my videos are for sure part of this standard, that's in quotations, be prepared for my all talk, no action follow-up. We expect flawlessness now. Kind of throwing shade, kind of not really passive-aggressive, but more along the lines of like, why are you just calling random people out? You should just make content yourself. So I thought this was a good idea to talk about in this video, not so much to point out drama, not to be a drama alert NHL channel. I don't think the community needs that. I just think that it's an interesting kind of debate to talk about. Like, obviously, as a viewer myself for so long, I kind of fell into just talking about hockey fairly easily because I watched so many NHL videos. NHL 70, that was a sick breakaway by Helmer there. So many NHL videos based on the games that it was just a natural thing for me to talk about. And so I fell into it, and it just became a discussion-based thing. It was never so much along the lines of like, I need to create to get views and stuff like that. It was just like an outlet for me to speak about hockey. And I feel like maybe that's the shift that YouTube had once everything became monetization and everything like that. Because yeah, I make money off of ads and things like that. But, I mean, obviously someone like Bacon Country and 2BC make a lot more. But, it was never just thinking about that. Like, if I was in YouTube for the money, I'd be incredibly stupid because I've made one paycheck, I think, from YouTube, which is rad. But it's like, it's not for the money here. So, but what do you guys think? I want to just report on this. I don't really want to so much just go into it what I think. I think both guys kind of presented it in a bad way, Bacon Country and Nasher. I think Nasher didn't mean to call people out, but, if you're talking about the standard NHL videos, you're talking about guys who are mainstream, 2BC, Bacon, stuff like that. Even like, Tactics, XTech, Don't Be Sod, stuff like that. They're a little bit smaller than those huge NHL channels, but still like considered mainstream. If you're a mainstream NHL YouTube fan, NHL, EA Sports NHL, you know about those guys in some capacity at least. XTech is more along the lines of GM modes and things like that, but you guys know what I mean. It's definitely a Hut-centric community at this point on YouTube, and even though people do the GM modes, franchise modes, and stuff like that, it's a little more popular. Just it's not as popular as Hut. Just because I think it's more of a collection aspect. But that leads perfectly into my second point that I wanted to talk about here. Is EA handling NHL 17 in a good enough way? Now, we always compare it to things like FIFA and Madden. Obviously, it's never going to be handled exactly that same way because it just doesn't have the mass appeal that those have. I mean, you can argue at this point in the United States, football has become more of a pastime than baseball. It's a huge event. The Super Bowl just eclipses any other sporting event in the country. I mean, it's insane. Even the Olympics in a lot of events and ways. So it's insane. It's just a massive thing. So that's, NHL, yeah, it's big in Canada, but it's definitely not as big in the United States, and that's a massive market. FIFA, huge everywhere, soccer, football, it's massive everywhere on the planet. It's going to be handled that way. So a lot of people on Twitter, including Nasher and Bacon, which is funny, have been talking about how EA is handling mostly HUT, because I think franchise mode is a good step because that's what I like to play. I don't even play HUT that much, but there's sets now, and there's different packs, and there's a 97 overall Danny Heatley and a 92 overall Matt Cook. And what people are saying is, that was a great point shot there. Are they handling it in the best way possible? They're not really pacing themselves. That's the major complaint, because already in October, the season just started. There's only been a few games for each franchise, and we already have players that are maxing out on the spectrum, not leaving any more room for growth. It's going to crash the market. And how is EA going to handle that? Because so far, they're not pacing themselves. At the end of this, we're going to have team of the weeks that are all 99 because there's already, third liners that are in the 90s already. In the top, if you think about it this way, they're in the top 10% of what a player can even be. And it's just a little too quick, I think, especially coming into this. Now, I'm not against doing the sets and stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of the people on Twitter are talking about this, Bacon and Nasher and Tactics, kind of in particular. I did see Don't Be Sad talk about it a little bit. I'm mostly talking about bigger YouTubers that are getting a lot of like retweets and things like that, because they pop up in my things you missed. So it's just like breaking news, Don't Be Sad says HUT sucks this year. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. On the other hand, people are pumped for this Heatley that came out that you just have to grind for. There was a hashtag that was trending, grind for Heatley and all this craziness. So what do you guys think? What is the best kind of course of action that EA could take at this point? So far, they've put out all these cards. They've handled HUT in a certain way. Do you play HUT? Have you played HUT the last few years? I mean, every year I try to get at least to Division 1, win the title, and, call it a day. But it usually takes me the whole year because I don't grind it out in the first couple weeks. I'm not partnered with EA, so I'm not getting packs. I have opened some packs that they just randomly drop off and give you, but it's just like whatever. It's never anything crazy. I mean, I remember 2 years ago was the only time I ever opened a pack and got anybody decent. But what do you guys think? So are we handling it correctly? Is EA handling it correctly? Are we handling what they're doing correctly? And what could they do differently? What could we as users tell them to do differently? And also, is NHL on YouTube becoming stagnant? Do you like the videos coming out? What would you see? What would you want to see more of? What is creative to you? So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Like and subscribe if you dug it, and we'll see you next time out on the ice.